Hello, friends. Welcome back to the show. Grab your favorite cuppa, whatever it is, cup of coffee, tea, bubbly, and pull up a chair. You're going to have a lot of ahas in today's episode. We're going to be talking about something that is very important. And I have seen this for many years. And it is the idea that society tells you that there's something wrong with you or with your children, and it's actually the complete opposite. You're actually gifted. Now, if you're a parent, you really need to stay with me throughout this episode because I think that you're going to see things that maybe you haven't thought about before that can really help benefit your child. But if you're not a parent, this can also apply to you, because so many times we have thought things were wrong with us when in all actuality we are actually gifted. And so what happens in society, which, disclaimer, I have to say, disclaimer, I am not a doctor, okay? I'm not a doctor, um I'm not medical, but I am a mom, I am a parent, I am a coach. I have talked to so many people who have been told that there's something wrong with them, and they have these ideas and beliefs about themselves. And so that is how they are presenting themselves, because they have had some label slapped on them and now they are insecure, or it's messing with their mind because they've been told a certain story. Today, I want to specifically speak to the gift of being an empath. Have you ever heard that? If you haven't ever heard about what an empath is, I'm going to go into some different characteristics that will help you understand if you're an empath. I actually believe every human being is an empath, but some are way more in tune with their empathic abilities than others. Some people have completely shut themselves down, shut themselves off from emotion, and so it's really helpful to understand what is an empath, how does it show up, and what can you do about it when you are an empath going out into the world. Because an empath feels deeply. They feel deeply. They pick up other people's emotions and things going on with other people, and so it can be very overwhelming. I was recently talking to one of my clients, and she was told somewhere along the line that she isn't smart and that she can't test, that she has a really hard time concentrating, that she has ADHD, that she has she doesn't have the skills to take tests and pass tests. And that's her story, and she's sticking to it, which many of us do. We get these stories and then we cling so tight to those identities and those labels and those beliefs. And man, the majority of those beliefs are not honoring us. So having some light shined onto this topic can be so helpful. But let's just start out with when we're children. Okay, we're born into this, wild and crazy world, and so many things are happening um to our system, our mind, our body. And then, we just think about all of the medication, all of the shots, all of the things in our food system, the toxins, the food dyes, all of those things that get put into the human body. And so the brain is trying to combat all of that, right? All of those toxins coming at it. And then you get this child that you put into this classroom. And you know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if any of you are teachers. I'm probably not talking to you specifically, because I'm sure you're brilliant and you're amazing and you're interesting. But I do believe that most teachers and the way that our school system is set up, it's boring for kids. it's boring. It's not interactive, and it can be very boring. I know for teens, a lot of their schooling is boring. Okay, I know maybe more we get more creative with little kids with like colors and songs and stuff like that, but then at some point it's like we expect kids to not have that creativity and to just sit down, shut up and listen, right? And so many times they get bored in school and they get disinterested, and so their mind is kind of going elsewhere. Well, what happens with so many people is they get slapped this story put on them that there's something wrong with them, that they can't focus. Okay, when in all reality, that child that's sitting there or that teen that's sitting there, maybe, just think about this, maybe they are so filled with creativity that their mind is bored because they're thinking about all of these creative ideas that they have, and they're not able to bring those into the world because they have to sit there and listen to something that they're not even interested in, right? And so then that kid is told that there's something wrong with them, when the truth is they are actually very, very creative, and that creativity needs to be stimulated. There needs to be an outlet for that creativity, and that there is nothing wrong with them. There is actually something very right with them. Now, there's another spiritual gift besides that creativity. There is a spiritual gift that is very present in so many of our children today, and in many of you listening. And that gift is empathy, and you are an empath. And what that means is you feel deeply, you connect, you have a gift to be able to connect with other human beings that are in your presence or that you're giving your attention to, and you can connect to how they're feeling. And this often gets labeled as depression, as social anxiety, as anxiety. There's so many different things that we think are wrong with us when in all actuality, we're an empath. So I'm going to go over some of these things for you today for you to understand. Are you an empath? And if so, are your empathetic gifts very open? And if they are, how can you drop the story that there's something wrong with you? And how can you start to take care of yourself and not just take in as a sponge all of these people around you and all of their stuff that they have going on and take it all on yourself? Okay. One of the things that's so important to understand with an empath is you have a lot of empathy. You care deeply about others. This is a big one for you to understand. If you feel deeply, then, many times people say, oh, you're too sensitive, or why do you cry all the time? Or what's wrong with you? Why do you get so upset all the time? You're just too sensitive. And so see, again, it's a gift, but you're told there's something wrong with you. Maybe your child is very empathetic and they have a lot of emotion, and you as the parent have been thinking there is something wrong with them. So that's something to take into account if that is something that's going on. Another thing that can be an indicator is you have really good intuition. Like you're able to really spot, certain things that other people can't. Maybe you pick up on how people are feeling. Another one is you don't do well in crowded spaces. Now, this is something for me that I have felt this for a long time. I don't like a lot of things that other people like. Like, I don't like to go to concerts. This is something that a lot of people are like, what? That's crazy. Why would you not like to go to concerts? For me, I I don't know if it's all of those people crowded in so closely. It's just not my jam. Will I go every great once in a while? Yes, but when I'm in a really crowded space, it feels overwhelming to me because it's just so much energy and so many people's things going on that they're holding that I'm now stepping into. Another sign is you take comfort being in nature. This is something that is really important for empaths. I know that, you know, we live in such a busy world today, and many times we are constantly on the go. We don't get a lot of nature time. And so it can be literally the difference in someone living a wonderful, fulfilling life or a life of misery if they don't ever unplug and get out into nature, especially for an empath. If someone is really in tune with their gifts and those gifts are really open, then when they get out into nature, it's like a cleansing for them. It helps cleanse their energy, it helps calm them down. And it's really, really important for empaths to be around nature and to unplug and to ground to planet Earth. Do people tend to tell you their problems? Do you feel like there's a line of people that line up to come and talk to you about their problems? This is something that I see with my husband. I see people call him constantly or reach out to him to tell him their problems. And this is something I have felt for a long time as well. And it is something that for empaths, it's like they have that energetic sign for people to come and dump their stuff on you. It's, you know, it's great as long as you are in a space that you can take that on. But also, if you're just listening to everybody and their toxic behaviors and allowing them to use you as a garbage can, and they're not willing to do anything about their life, then that is a painful go, right? That is something that it's not effective for anyone, because energetically an empath wants to take that pain from other people. But if they don't realize what they're doing, if they're taking it and putting it on them, then now you're both miserable because you can't take someone's pain from them. They're still going to have it. They might feel better for a moment, but not long before they get themselves into another web of whatever drama they've got going on in their life. And now you've got it and now they've got it. So being able to be an empathetic person who can be a great listener, that can, you know, give people understanding, compassion, wisdom, help them be able to see things from a different perspective. That is awesome. But just being aware that you're there to listen to this person, but to not open up energetically and just take everything on that they have. It's that intention that you're setting and that you're presenting yourself with. I definitely know I've done both. I have been in a space before where I've energetically shown up and been like, oh my gosh, this person, I feel so bad for them. I feel like they can't catch a break and I want to take that from them. And then it just ends up exhausting me and overwhelming me. And so instead, realizing everybody's on a journey, it's all good wherever they're at, and showing up in your own power, but staying in your own power and allowing yourself to be there and listen to people, but not go down to that level of victimhood with them. And instead, you're pulling them up. You're saying, hey, here's a hand. I'm going to help pull you up energetically. I'll give you a hand up, right? instead of me coming down to lay on the ground, energetically speaking, with you, right? Um, but one thing that I worked with someone years ago, that she had told herself that she couldn't go to school. She had massive social anxiety, and she thought there was something wrong with her. And she had all these, dreams and aspirations and goals, but she was, she would get herself into her classroom just in high school, and she'd start to have panic attacks and anxiety and crippling anxiety and fear. And so when she started working with me, it was very healing and freeing to her when I sat across from her and I said, "You know what, honey? You've been lied to. You've been told from the world that there's something wrong with you, when in reality, you are an empath and you are spiritually gifted. And all you need to do is learn how to take care of yourself, practice self-care, and heal yourself. And then it'll be a game changer." And guess what? She radically shifted quickly. She healed and she learned how to protect herself. And then she went on to college and she got her bachelor's degree. And now she is actually studying to become a pilot. And so she's around people all the time and she's doing fantastic. And it's been so fun to see her journey and how that story was wreaking havoc on her life. And then when she was able to shift her paradigm and let go of the beliefs of society and really plug into the truth, she's able to fly and succeed and do anything she sets her mind to. So another sign that you have you're empathic, is you have high sensitivity to sounds or sensations. Do you ever go to the mall or the store and you just feel like it's overwhelming because there's too much going on, and you're zoned into all these different things, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is too much, right? It can be so overwhelming for an empath, because what happens is empaths are open and they're connected, and so they can connect to this person and that person and this thing going on, and it can be very exhausting and very overwhelming when other people are kind of just zoned out, numbed out in their own bubble. Well, the key is not for you to zone out and numb out, but for you to be an empath, to go in, to shine your light, but not give it all away to where now you have none. You shine your light, but you are not taking on other people's stuff. And that's the key. You've got to have time to fill your cup up, to replenish yourself, and to learn how to not just take it all in. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do when it comes to being an empath and to pay attention to your energy is pay attention to who you're kicking it with. If you are around someone that completely drains your energy, you first have to see that. You have to see that. You have to admit it. And it's not about being in a space of judgment. It's being in a space of self-preservation to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. And so be willing to admit and to even open your eyes to people that you are around that drain your energy. Start to observe the things they talk about, the things that they're showing up with. If someone in your life is always in a space of victimhood, that is painful for an empath. And so maybe there's somebody that's coming to mind for you. So being aware of that and making, I'm not telling you to just, cut ties and never talk to that person again, but even just, giving yourself some space. Maybe you're not always available when the phone rings, when they call you, or maybe when they text you, you don't text them right back all the time so that they expect you to be, at their beck and call. Maybe every time they ask you to hang out, you're not available every single time. Maybe you're just kind of stepping back and giving yourself some space from them. Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing that I want you to do is when you are going to go into a place of a crowded place, you can, there's an energy, something that you can do. It's energy work that you can do on yourself. And it is literally, it's just called zipping up the energy. And so what you do is you literally just take, you take your hand and you just zip up, like you're zipping up the front of your body. Okay. And you just go from the bottom. So it would be like from the base of your tailbone, but in the front, and you're just zipping it up, and you do this 3 times. Okay. And you zip it up, and then you step into your store or concert or whatever it is you're doing, right? And that is just you, it's you energetically being in a space of, okay, this is mine. I'm going to leave your stuff with you. I'm not going to take on all of your emotions. And it's a very powerful way to protect yourself. That word protect is I don't like to use it that much because it makes it feel like you're kind of afraid of people's energy and their emotions. And that's not what it's about. It's more of, instead of protection, it's more of empowerment. I want you to think of it as empowering. Okay. Now, as a parent, what can you do for your child if your child is taking on a lot of people's emotions? This is just good to do anyways with all of your children. And you can do, teach them the zip up method, or you can do what's called a spinal flush, which from the back of the top of their head all the way down the bottom of their spine, you're just brushing the energy down. And then you do that 3 times just to kind of like clear the emotion from them. And you will see them calm down. You'll see a shift in their energy. If they're at a space where they're being really emotional, or they're having you see that they're overwhelmed, just doing this on a normal basis. I do this to my kids, and most of the time they don't even realize I'm doing it, because I'm not making a big thing about it. I'm just kind of subtly just soothing the back of their spine. It's kind of like you're just rubbing your hand down the bottom of their spine, and you're doing that, the base of their neck down their spine, and you're just doing that 3 times, and just calming them down. I even do this to my adult son. He probably never even notices. I do it to my husband even, right? It's my way of helping other people, just calming them, helping calm them, because I do have a whole lot of empaths around me, and I know many of you are also empaths. And so hopefully some of this is resonating with you. Another sign that you are an empath is you like to be alone. You tend to isolate yourself, and you want to kind of, be a lone ranger at times. Now, it's a good thing to be alone. I think it's a healthy thing to have alone time. And I think we all need to have that at times. But if you are constantly wanting to, isolate yourself, then I think it's a balance, right? And meditating can be really good, or being out in the garden, anything like that, to have that alone time and just really reconnect with your divine and yourself, and let go of other people's stuff that you've picked up. Let's see. Another thing that can be hard for empaths is they have a hard time with conflict. This is something that, they can really try to avoid. And conflict it's normal, it's natural, it's something that we all have to deal with at some point in our life, whether you have conflict with a coworker or a boss or a client or your spouse or your children. There are going to be conflicts in your life. And so being able to embrace conflict, be comfortable with it, not in the sense where you love confrontation. It's really that balance to where it's not like you're loving it all the time. You're looking for conflict, but also not to where you're like burying your head in the sand and you're afraid of it. You want to be more in the middle, where you are able to speak your truth. You're able to, stand in your power, and sometimes go to bat for yourself if you need to, and put yourself out there and feel confident in that. So those are some things that will give you an idea that whether you are an empath or not, and then really learning how to take care of yourself. But the most important thing is to pay attention to who you are surrounding yourself with. What are you watching? What are you paying attention to? Are you delved into, painful things going on in the world? Because for an empath, that's really going to mess with you. It's really going to affect you. I know for me, there were so many years that I would get up in the morning and I would turn on the different morning shows that I thought were just morning shows, but really have a lot of news threaded into them. And I had so much anxiety. I was really stressed out. I had a lot of fear that I was holding from the world. And when I realized that there's nothing wrong with me in that sense, like I actually was doing it to myself because of the things that I was surrounding myself with, people, places, and things. And so learning how to cut those things out of your life and be totally okay with it. No show or movie is worth, days or weeks or even hours of anxiety for me. It's just not worth it. And so really looking at protecting my mindset and my peace sacred, having that be very sacred to me, and having that be like utmost importance in my life. I mean, what value do you put on your peace, So being able to understand that and to realize, you are an amazing, gifted human who came here to do great things. And don't let the world tell you that there's something wrong with you, that you're not smart, that you can't focus, that you are there's something wrong with you because you feel so deeply. That is a beautiful, beautiful gift. But you must protect yourself. You must learn to first understand how to do this for yourself, and then understand how to teach your children to take care of themselves, so that you do not become just that energetic sponge that's picking everything up from other people and making yourself miserable. And then surrounding yourself with energetic vampires, because you will get a lot of people that feel that from you. They want what you have. They want to be around you. They want your presence. And so those energetic vampires will find you and they'll try to take what you have. And it's really hard for you because it's overwhelming and it's misery. So you can go out and shine your light as long as you're taking care of yourself, as long as you're clear and you are told the truth about who you are, and you start to tell yourself the truth, then you can live a fantastic life. And just so you know, people that are told they can't focus, they now that messes with their mind, and now they think they can't focus, and so now that's how they're showing up, because they tell themselves that story over and over and over again. I used to have a really hard time taking tests. This gets labeled as a learning disability, and the reason I had a hard time taking tests is because I found it so distracting when people would finish before me, because I'm very careful. I like to take my time. I like to read and go slower. And so I'm more thorough and more precise when I'm taking a test. And so people would finish and wrap up, and it would start to mess with my mind because I would think, oh my gosh, I'm so slow. They're going, they're already done. There must be something wrong here because I'm taking so long. Or then they would start talking over in the corner, the people that had finished the test before me, and it would distract me. And it would be like, gosh, I'm having a hard time focusing. And so what I realized is there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with me. It's just different. It's a different style. It's a different brain. It's a different way that you approach a test. So I feel like this is such an important conversation because so many times we just roll with those stories and they're not true. So you are most likely an empath. Your children are most likely empaths. And if you're listening to this, and just learn how to really protect yourself and stop taking everything else on. So thanks for being here and have a fabulous week. Bye for now.